The world within the Dishonored series gives us some incredibly powerful characters that possess ridiculous amounts of strength, speed, and supernatural abilities. Today we're going to power scale those characters and determine which ones end up at the top or the bottom of their universe's power scale. Let's find out where your character ranks today on a new Tier Masters. Welcome back to Tier Masters, everyone. Today's video is over Dishonored 2 characters, and we're going to be doing another power levels video, just like I've done before. I should note before we get into this is purely based off of physical capabilities into a fight, although for some of our characters who are more inventors, I'm going to take into account their inventions and weapons that can be used in battle as part of this list. Also, this is going to be dealing with the characters from all three of the games, and so let's get right into it. Up first, we've got Vera Moray, or Granny Rags. She's by far more powerful than any normal character in the series, although not quite as powerful as some of the main protagonists and antagonists. She's extremely capable of handling herself in a fight with lots of experience, and so I'm going to put her in the B tier. So up next, we've got Piero Joplin, and like I was mentioning before, I am going to take into account some of his ability to create weapons or inventions that might be able to defend him while he's in a fight. In terms of physical prowess, he's probably at the bottom of the barrel. But if you take into account some of his weapon upgrades and even like arc pylon upgrades that he's able to accomplish, I'm going to put him in the D tier. Okay, next we've got Billy Lurk. She's a trained lifelong assassin, and towards the end of the series, she gets supernatural abilities. She's one of the main protagonists that we actually play as during the series, and so I'm probably going to stick her in the A tier due to her assassin experience and supernatural abilities. So next we've got Dr. Hypatia, and since we're doing power levels, I'm going to take her at her best, which is when she's the crown killer. Due to her appearance and normal personality, she's severely stronger than her appearance takes. She doesn't have a lot supernatural going on, but she's extremely physically capable, so I'm going to put her with Granny Rags in B tier. So next we've got Callista. There's really not a whole lot we know about her capabilities in the Dishonored series. Other than that, she's probably just mostly a pretty normal person, so I'm going to put her down in F tier. I think Sokolov kind of relates to Piero in that he's extremely incapable physically. In fact, he's probably the worst of anybody on this list, but he's actually more so capable than even Piero is in terms of making advanced weaponry and using his inventions to dispel of foes. So although he's not quite exactly the same as Piero, I'm also going to put him in the D tier. So next we've got Aramis Stilton, and really from what we know, he just kind of goes crazy. After the meeting with the Duke and Delilah, we don't ever see any kind of physical or combat feats from him, so I'm also going to put him in the F tier. Up next is Breanna Ashworth, and I believe she's a witch and leader of a coven. She possesses some supernatural abilities above other witches even, and just due to the fact that she can command so many allies below her, I think helps her case in a fight, but she's nowhere near some of the power of the main antagonists and protagonists in the series. So she's going to also belong in the B tier. So next is Overseer Byrne, I believe. He commands the Abbey, and he's pretty capable in a fight, although I wouldn't necessarily say he's more capable than a lot of other overseers and guards. Being a commander and having power does help, though. So rounding all that out, he's going to go in the C tier. Okay, up next is Lydia from the Loyalists group, and she's really just kind of a servant around the Hound Pits. As far as capability goes, she's at the very bottom of the barrel, so she's an easy F tier. So next is High Overseer Campbell. The main difference between he and Byrne is that Byrne is a lot more about action and formidable when faced with a problem, whereas Campbell really likes to use corruption to solve his problems. So I would really just put Campbell a step below Byrne, and he's going to go along with the scientists in the D tier. Next, we've got Cecelia from the Loyalist group, and she somehow managed to evade the conspiracy whenever they were trying to stage a coup, although really that just kind of had to do with escaping things and none of it had to do with combat. So she's going to go in the F tier. Corvo served as the royal protector for several years. He carries the Outsider's Mark and some really powerful supernatural abilities. On top of that, he's even shown to be a skilled swordsman before he even served as Royal Protector. He's got a very well-rounded skill set, and all that is going to solidify him in the A tier. Okay, next up is Daud, and similarly to Corvo, he carries the Outsider's Mark and is an extremely skilled swordsman. He's also been a lifelong assassin and leader of assassins, and is skilled at combat and stealth alike, so I'm also going to put him in the A tier. Delilah is a highly skilled witch, and she's been proven to be very resilient throughout the series. She's been bested on numerous occasions by the people in the A tier, but she's noticeably better than the people in the B tier, so she could really go either way, but I think I'm just going to put her at the very edge at the bottom of the A tier. So next is Admiral Havelock, and the lore has actually shown him to be a pretty ruthless killer at times. He's skilled enough to handle himself in a fight and has served in the Guard for several years, but he's not overly powerful by any means. I'm also going to put him in the C tier. So like High Overseer Campbell, the Lord Regent, Hiram Burrows, really seeks a lot of his power through corruption and politics. I would put him in a fight over all the people in the F tier, but he's really nothing special, so he's going in D tier. Jessamine is an empress, and we see her get killed off pretty quickly and easily. She can't really handle herself in a fight, so for that, she's in the F tier. Emily has been trained by Corvo throughout her life, is a skilled fighter, and possesses the Outsider's Mark and all the supernatural abilities that go along with it. So she's going to go up there in the A tier as well. Similarly to Piero and Sokolov, Jindosh is a master inventor who's not necessarily capable of handling himself in a fight, but his clockwork soldier inventions have proven to be extremely useful for the Empire, and the army that he's been able to produce is noticeably better than some of the traps and inventions that Piero and Sokolov made. So I would even go as far as to say he's going to end up in the B tier. Lizzy Stride is a local gang leader, and she's an example of just kind of climbing through the ranks and being ruthless. She doesn't have a lot of X factor in her combat abilities, but she's still a tough cookie, so I'm going to put her in the C tier. So the Duke is not afraid to kill anybody, unlike most of the people in the F tier, but he's not really capable in a fight. I mean, he can fire a gun, and he really has no physical prowess, so he's going to go at the bottom of the D tier. Okay, I'm not sure if this is another loyalist. I think this is also a Lydia that I did earlier, so I'm just going to also put her in the F tier. Similarly to Havelock, Martin has some experience fighting, but he's not necessarily a foe to be reckoned with. He has experience that helps him out, but not overpowering by any means, so he's a C tier. Mindy Blanchard is someone who's risen up the ranks of the underworld in Dishonored. She's actually tried on occasions to put the Outsider's Mark on her own hand and hope that it gave her abilities, although that never really worked. She's another example of someone who has experience in a fight, but isn't going to overwhelm you, so she's in the C tier. Paolo is a powerful gang leader, and he actually found a way to use Granny Rags' hand to give himself an advantage and use some black magic. He has a lot of influence in the allies that will come to his aid in battle, and so I'm going to put him up in the B tier. Okay, next we've got Lord Pendleton. Although he will kill people, he's really below Havelock and Martin when it comes to battle, so I think he lines up pretty well in the D tier. Mortimer Ramsey is a guy similarly to Havelock who has kind of served in the ranks and proven himself, although he's not overly capable physically and doesn't have any special abilities. He can handle himself in a fight over the inexperienced, and so he's in the C tier. Lady Boyle is an aristocrat and heavily relies on protection, kind of like the Empress, so she's going to go in the F tier. I think everyone can agree that Samuel the Boatman is the most powerful character in the series. I don't know a single character that could really hold a candle to him. In fact, he could probably solo everybody on this list combined. So he's going to go in the S tier. Okay, I had to admit I had a great time putting Samuel in the S tier in the last one. But the actual guy that's going to go in the S tier is the Outsider. He's the guy who's bestowed a lot of the powers on the characters in the A and B tier. And he's got several abilities in the series that none of the other characters who do have abilities can even match up to. So he's going to go in the S tier. I believe this last guy is Wallace, and he's got a little bit of experience with fighting others, although really not too much. He's definitely not good enough or experienced enough to be in the C tier, but he's not quite a cowardly guy that you would put in the F tier, so he's going in the D tier. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our list for power levels in the Dishonored series. Who do you guys think is misplaced or even more powerful than I'm putting them at? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.